Welcome back to artofdino.com and saveearth.us, and I've got the third article on this one amazing page of the Camden Chronicle from December 1st, 1893. And again, it's rare that I find three video-worthy articles on one page, but I did it in this one, and they are awesome. So this last one, again, holds a very nice key, and all of them kind of hold an interesting key to the reality. The first one had the Palace of Onyx underneath in the kind of a catacomb, a grand dome and cathedral-like thing buried under the Missouri near the river. And the second one had the giants, a kind of proof of giants and strength by showing tales of strength from the past. And now this one is called Balloons for War. And this, I think, shows them thinking about and realizing what they can do to reset this world and how they can start all the fires in the American cities that will destroy all the buildings that are important, and how they can do it all over the world and destroy things where people don't even have a clue they exist. So they could have done this with airships all over the place, and again, they tell about it in this article. So here we go, listen to this. Balloons for War. Samuel A. King, the aeronaut who had so narrow an escape from drowning in Lake Michigan recently, has for a long time turned his knowledge to the use of aeronautics in the science of war. Jesus. During the threatened hostilities with Chile, I'm not sure what that's all about, but he tendered his services to ex-Secretary Tracy of the Navy for a balloon service in which compressed hydrogen was to be used as the inflating gas. His system included a group of 7 balloons, the car being a metal boat built in sections, each of which was to be airtight. For observation purposes, the group was to be what is known as captive and telephonic communication established with the flagship of the fleet. The casks of compressed hydrogen were to be stored on the metal boat and used when necessary for further inflation. The professor has an autograph letter from ex-Secretary Tracy in which his system is highly commended. The professor said that from an altitude of 6,000, he could make observations over the area of a circle whose radius is 100 miles. If it was deemed necessary to use the group for offensive purposes, it could be made a most destructive agency. When the winds were favorable, it could hover over an enemy's fleet, fortifications, or city, and by dropping bombs loaded with dynamite or other explosive material, prove an ugly customer. During the late imbroglio with Great Britain regarding the Bering Sea, King visited Washington and tendered his ideas to Secretary Herbert. He was to establish a signal service on each of the Great Lakes. It was accepted contingently upon the event of hostilities being declared. So again, this is 1893. This is kind of as a lot of the fires in America are starting. So I wonder if they discovered this and then planted their little hovercrafts over San Francisco, Boston, Texas, wherever, you name it. Wherever there was a fire, there could have been things in the sky dropping bombs down. And when you see things like San Francisco, you know that it was not the result of a fire, because a fire isn't going to explode a brick building, or a giant, amazing, ancient building of marble is not going to get thrashed by fire. That is kind of the point of those buildings, is they wouldn't do that. Only something with explosive power could take those buildings down and do it, and undetected would be from 6,000 feet up in the air, dropping dynamite below, dropping bombs all over the place. And this is a guarantee of what they did. I'm sure they were doing this all the way until the Hindenburg. They've probably been in places like in the Middle East, where the Sahara is. They could have been doing this for so long without telling us, and then they put it out like this, like, oh, this was the first time this was ever thought of. Meanwhile, they could have been doing it for hundreds of years before. So, again, we never know, but it seems a little sketchy to me as well, because you just know that this guy was not the first to realize this. There's other people in other countries doing this. There are people in government positions that were seeing the rise of the airship, and there's no way those sick bastards didn't think about using it in war. It's usually the first thing that those ridiculously evil people think about. So, kind of nuts. But again, more kind of clues as to how it all got reset, how it all got destroyed, and the different elements of this whole thing, this whole resurrection of history that they have stolen from us, and reading between the lines to figure out what might have really happened instead of them telling us what actually didn't happen, disguised as what did happen. So we all have to reverse engineer everything they tell us. Everything that's written and has to be thought of in multiple angles and just can't be accepted as ultimate truth, because that's just not how they work. And they know that. They're too smart, sadly, but they're not creative. So I guess maybe some of them are, because they've did a pretty good job, but I have a feeling there is some major force behind all of this reset material, the loss of the giants, the loss of the underground palaces, and the civilization of America that thrived here, and the interconnected world, and the land beyond the poles, and all this stuff. It's all there waiting to be discovered, waiting to be relearned by us, and so that we can take it into our world and we can utilize it to proceed and actually make progress in this world, instead of going into further and further into a ditch. And also, this is a little bonus right here. I just noticed as I was reading that last article, at the very bottom there's one sentence which is relevant to this channel, and it says, "One of the Shah's treasures is a small cube of gold covered with Oriental letters, Tartarian, and reported to have fallen from heaven in Muhammad's time." So again, wow, 4 articles in this one December 1st, 1893 page of one newspaper. So very cool. Again, I'm going to keep my eyes peeled for more. I haven't done any of these in a while, but hope you enjoyed this 3-parter, and stay tuned for a lot more, because there's much more coming up. There's always more to discover. There's always more realizations that I'd like to share and get your opinions on. So stay tuned for much, much more. I also have some great art and music coming your way. So have fun, bless you all, and thanks for checking all this out. artofdino.com and saveearth.us. Rock.